For Sophia, you're in the creative line. You know, the creative and marketing sector is very much dependent on demand from companies for your services. How did the pandemic change your particular sector? And what were the things that you had to do to ensure that the business remained resilient and was moving on?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. This is my very first time to actually be a speaker. In terms of what has happened to our country, the pandemic hit us in, I think, in end of February, early March. In a lot of business, there are, of course, businesses that didn't adjust themselves well because of, you know, different people, different mindsets, which after, you know, a few months, they have failed very badly. I'm not sure about the internal, but the company, you know, for example, a travel agent is completely closed down, and some business that are able to adjust their mindset and their whole organization quickly, they're able to continue in a stable pace or in a very difficult pace. But the first time it hit us, it was very hard for everyone, even in terms of my business, which we basically focus on digital. It causes, you know, we have to deal with the employee. And in a country like us, a lot of family quite involving with their children, even if they, sorry to say, even if they're 27 or 30. So as one of the entrepreneurs, for me, I had to not just deal with my employee, but I had to deal with the emotions that and the pressure their family put them in as well, and to keep the business going while dealing on my personal stuff and the client part. So for me, during this pandemic, I always, my first priority is, of course, the client, but my always employee internally always come first, because like one of the, you know, one of my, one of the entrepreneur that really inspired me is, he's one of that is Jekna, is to take care of the employee first, make sure they are happy, and then they will serve the client. So I deal, it was hard for me to deal with the employee, and some of them came to a point where they didn't actually able to come to work anymore. So I always been a flexible person since I was younger, so I was able to adapt to that quite fast. So in terms of that, and then some of the employees, I cut them down as well because they're new and because of their, you know, their family issue side that they worry about being infected. But the one that stay with me longer and able to work from home, so I just, you know, some able to come to work and some actually work from home. So I managed through that. It was a challenge for the first 2 weeks, but after a while it was fine. When it hit first, our business is kind of, a lot of clients are panicked, but it also quite booming. But after 3 months, when things didn't get picked up, a lot of clients actually postponed or canceled. So there's a lot of pressure in terms of you know, running a business. And so I started to, like what Jeff mentioned, I started to collaborate. You know, I started to talk to different companies. I wasn't just focused on client base anymore. I was focused on other businesses as well. Let's see how we can work together. If the income comes in, it's less, but at least something comes in to make it stable, because I cannot afford to just stop my company or close my company quick, just like that, because it's also not just business, but in terms of my employer as well. At that time, you can't find any job. Nobody will, you know, give you a job, and a lot of companies cut down 50 to 60% until most big companies, they cut down until October and some December, even though things pick up in September, October, November, and December. Yeah, and in terms of a general public, a lot of them learn how to order food online. So besides the pharmacy industry, the food delivery are extremely booming even until now, because we actually has, I'm not sure it's called second or third or fourth breakout, and this time it's a bit serious. It still haven't locked down yet, but I think our country, we are not able to completely lock down, because it will hurt people who selling food on the street, a guy who selling drinks on a cart. So we're still able to work every day, but yes, a lot of especially restaurant, they able to go on the apps and diversify, not really diversify, but understand the delivery. So I think from app used to be just for people who's from 15 to 25 or 30, but now even a generation at 50 or 60, they know how to order food from an app. Yeah, and another side that also hurting is that it's very easy. I'm not very sure about other countries, but in here it's extremely easy to start a new business. So after hitting for the first 3 months, the next 3 months was there are digital or freelancer who doing social media, digital media. It's increased from probably around 100 to 500-600. I think you can see everywhere. You can see all the ads, all the digital ads everywhere. And of course, as a customer, everyone would just go for someone that is extremely cheap. So it's just hurting, those who are like especially my company, who have done it for years, and we have a price that suitable for proper value. But in the next 3 months, which happened from March, everyone just offer a very competitive price. So in terms of that, it's hurting. It was booming at first, and then it's hurting a digital business as well.
Thanks very much, Sophia. Sophia, where you are in Cambodia, perhaps, what do you think are the top 3 mindsets or skills that entrepreneurs would need to embrace, or they need to have in a post-pandemic world?
So I actually agree, and I have a very similar mindset to Stefan. And one really good point that he just gave me a realization was always say yes to the opportunity. And I actually, after running my own company for a while, I always been practicing it. Every opportunity that comes, that I rarely say no, and then I will go back and think about it and discuss, and then I will contact those people who is in the industrial to advise or to help me out. So that way it's also open up the way I learn, more skills, more learning, different industrial. So every learning is never bad or negative, it's always good. And it's also make you able to understand the industry and be flexible as well. Because, if you, for example, I'm in marketing, if I learn about tech industrial, there is still an opportunity for me to actually come up with a new creative idea or a business idea model that specifically tailored IT company. So my first point will be, I always say just the opportunity, like what Stefan said, and come back, think about it. Second of all, be flexible. We all, like for example, like this COVID time, this pandemic really forcing a lot of business to open up their mind, be flexible, otherwise they cannot survive. And in Cambodia, I've seen myself, maybe they are a bit older generation, I'm not sure. I can't really point out on that, but I can see that some business who resist to adapt or are too strong in terms of their core business and didn't adjust to during this period of time has failed or completely closed down, and until now it still hasn't. Some companies still close. So that will be my second point, and the third one will be be, well, what is it called? Have a mindset of stable and not able to panic because you are a leader. I might be deep down inside, might be panic, but if I were to be panicked, my employer will feel worse. So the last thing you want to do is to create a lot of panics, but to really think it through, try to calm yourself down, discuss, with other, experienced friends, other entrepreneurs, and calm yourself down, and then so you know what are the next steps to do instead of getting panic, take actions too quickly, and then it also give your clients and your employee to feel to have this pressure. So every time, it's not just about this a pandemic, but every single time we have any big client who's pulling themselves away, and then I will be panic about operational costs or income. Then it's always been I believe it's one of the key to as an entrepreneur, especially during the pandemic.
Thanks very much, Sophia.